So here's kind of a traditional resume. I had somebody the other day put pink on their resume. That's great. That shows their personality. But I will be honest, you should stick to black and white paper. As we said, we want to stand out, but you don't want to stand out too much unless you're applying for a creative marketing role. Carolyn might tell you if you're applying for a creative job, she might want to see that.
No, I'm not in advertising. You're applying for an advertising.
Okay, anybody want to go into advertising? But you would see the contact.
We like black and white.
Yes, very easy to read. Contact information. Objective, like I've said, we've moved away from objective. A lot of times on my resume, I have, what did I put? Qualifications of experience. So anything that could be 3 points that you worked on a certain project or a leadership role, you can add that there. Education is right here. This person actually put their degree and they put their GPA. You'll hear different, if you've been out a while, like I don't have my GPA, but if I've just recently graduated in the last few years, if it's a 3.0 or 3.5, we get kind of, I say 3.5 or above. I didn't put my GPA because it was below that, but I've talked to other recruiters and they're like, if you don't put it, then we assume it's below a 3.0. So if it's a 3.0 or above, I would tell you to go ahead and put it on. If you've been out a few years or you have work experience, do not feel like you have to put your GPA on there. Work experience as well. This is going to be, it has the month and the year. This is very, I'd say important. A lot of times people will put years. They've been there a long time. But if you start in December of 2009 and worked until November of 2011, you want to put that so it shows instead of I was there a year, I was there a year and a half. So you want to kind of look at that. Honors and activities. This person put leadership activities. Again, any kind of leadership role they had. Most of you are scholarship. You'd want to put that. Put that on your resume. You're a member of any group. You'll want to put that because it shows that beyond just work and your personal life, you did extra things. That helps stand apart. You're good. Okay.
And by the way, I mean, just to build on that, I know when I'm looking at resumes and I see things like financed 100% of my college education, I look at those folks and I say, wow, you know, they didn't get it handed to them. They really had to work for it. So as I think about folks in this room, and those are the kinds of things that to flag it, there are a lot of employers that look at that and say, wow, that's really great. Or, you know, even things like return to school after, you know, some period of time. You look at that and, you know, it's not everyone's going to say, oh, that's bonus points. But I think, you know, things that show motivation, overcoming adversity, you know, drive and, you know, to succeed and achieve. I think those are really important things to include. And I think, again, looking around this room, there are things that all of us could flag on a resume that is valuable, you know, that kind of sets you apart from the 22-year-old, mommy and daddy paid for everything, you know, they got it handed to them and they got a 2.5 because they were having a really good time at frat parties. You know, that's that's anything that you can do to kind of distance from that set is a positive, I think.
And Carolyn's right. A lot of times hiring managers, it's harder to teach motivation and drive. It's hard to hire somebody and then to motivate them. If you're already motivated, it's going to be very easy to teach you the skill for the job because you're going to be willing to learn. So Carolyn's very right about that.
How would you put that in a professional manner on a resume, though? I mean, you know, I went back to school after being out for 11 years and was a single parent and got my degree.
I wouldn't say things like I was a single parent.
Yeah,
I
know.
You don't have to declare all of that, but I do think it's, you know, to say things like returned to school after 11 years to complete a degree. You know, and then financed it 100%. You know, I think that's how I would do it. And then you're not. I don't think you have to get into all the other stuff of, you know.
And that's kind of what I was thinking was, wow, I don't necessarily want that kind of thing on my resume. So,
but it's like.
And did you have work experience in that 11 years?
Yeah.
On and off. That will show.
I've never not worked. So.
Okay. So see, your work experience will be here with the years and the months, and then you could even put for school the year you started and the year you completed or planned to. Because I'm going to say, okay, she's worked since 90, and she went back to school in 2003. Oh, wow, she went back to school on her own. I mean, there's a lot of things that you're going to assume by you putting that and not getting into your personal.
So when I list the education, putting a start and finish date would actually be beneficial because of that?
I think for you, yes, it would. And there's nothing wrong. I mean, even if it took you 6, 7 years, you finished. My husband, it took him 6 years. He financed it 100%. And he says that in the interview. It took me 6 years, but it took me 6 years because I was working full-time and going to school at night.
Yeah.
So that's very explainable when an interview comes up, and they'll appreciate that because Carolyn wants somebody who she doesn't have to motivate. So pros, formatting. As you can see, it's very easy to read, clear in the layout. It is easy to follow. Has the complete contact information at the very top. And like I said, it breaks down. You see here in the most recent, okay, this was the accomplishments. They did it very completely different. So this is an example if you have projects, if you've had additional work outside of your scope that you would list, and then the employment history. I'll be honest, I don't like this as much. I like to have what you did in each role, but this is very professional, and you can see the additional stuff. So I'm sure as a coordinator in a lot of these roles, the projects she did were more important than her day-to-day task. So there's a couple of different ways to do that. They put education at the bottom, and then they put their community skill, or computer skills, and then community service. Another way, awards, community service, campus involvement, you can word it any way you really want to, as long as it looks professional. Cons. Okay. Candidate did include her background accomplishments, but, as I was saying, she didn't have a list of examples that fell under her work history.